All right, ladies, gentlemen, gamers, welcome back to something I've wanted to do and have been told to do for a long time, but can only do it when my family has left the home. The home is empty except for me, so now I can actually do this video. The video I'm doing now is going to be a cooking guide to one of my favorite foods in the world, pasta. And here I am. Now, obviously, I'm going to be showing my hands and stuff, but I'm basically naked, and I'm not going to show my face because that should be a reward if I get famous one day. But, and privacy reasons. But yeah, I'm going to be showing how to cook pasta. First, you obviously need a pot. This is my favorite pot. It's a pasta pot. Now, I'm obviously recording this on my phone. I don't know how the fuck I'm going to put this on YouTube, but this is definitely going to be multiple clips stitched together. Maybe, possibly. I have no clue how I'm going to do this, but hopefully it ends up working out. And there's my hand. This is one of the few times on the YouTube, aside from maybe the movie reviews back in the day, I'm actually going to, like, show myself. Now, moving forward with the review, or I guess the DUI, I don't really know what the fuck to call it, the guide of how I make pasta. First, you get the pot, right there. Then this is my favorite pasta bowl. I love this bowl because it's very big and it holds a lot of food. Now, I don't know why people wanted me to do this. It's really going to be very simple, but I mean, I guess I could show you. Now, the tragic part is I make pasta in a lot of different ways. Like, there's not one way I make pasta. Sometimes I get creative. I make different sauces, but in general, this will give you a good baseline to how to make one of my favorite and best foods in the world. Now, this is the entire pasta fucking cabinet I have, so there's that. But anyway, you get the pasta, which I have this for right now. A lot of pasta is good. The only pasta I do not like is this bullshit right here. Elbows. Elbows are fucking ass. Fuck this shit. Fuck elbows. God, if my boss or family ever finds this, it's gonna be like, who are you? But anyway, yeah, we get the pot, we get the pasta, which usually I can eat like a whole box by myself, and I try to, you know, not eat a lot. This one's kind of light, so we might actually pick up another one. Now, let me see what else we got here. We got, what is this bullshit? Medium shells, that's for soup. That is something I could show another video on, which is a family specialty that my grandma taught me, but we're not going to make that today. Let's make, hopefully no one can figure out where I live, but just seeing that, I'm pretty sure you can't make it out. That's my neighbor's house. And then we have this, rotelli. You know what? We can mix and match. That's what I usually do in one box as well. I mix it with another. So, there's that. So we're going to put this back into the drawer, the pasta cabinet, and then we're going to turn on the cold water. Make sure it's cold. Oh yeah, it's cold. And remember, I am naked, so I'm always cold. And then we're going to fill up the pot as such. Now for these, you obviously use a fork. So let's get a fork. So, we're going to fill this up. I like to fill it up. You can fill it up. I'll show you how much. So for normal people, for people that don't eat like an animal like me, this amount is probably enough for most people. Probably a little bit more than enough for most people, honestly. If you're feeding one person. But if you're feeding Chris Allen, which is me, you're going to need like that much. Maybe a little bit more, but we'll just handle that. So, there's some ways that people make pasta, and then there's the way I make pasta. So, one thing I used to do, which is super unhealthy and super fucking bad, which I don't do anymore. I only did it for like the span of a couple weeks because I was stupid. Well, before I even say anything, let's start getting this making. So, we turn it on. The heat doesn't really matter. You can put it on low, medium, or high. I like to put it as high as possible while the water is still cold because I want the shit to get boiling really quickly. But in general, what the fuck was that? Yeah, so for a period of time, most people put salt in the water right now. I don't do that because the salt gets dissolved and then you can't really taste it. What I do is I let the water boil as is. But what I used to do, which was super fucking bad, was one day I bought this box of pasta that was like, it wasn't, Ronzoni or Barilla. It was some weird ass name, and they were like, oh yeah, our pasta has like this. And I looked on the back and it was like, damn, they have added sugar to this. Like, it's very sugary. And I thought like, wow, I learned in school that wheat turns into sugar, or carbs turns into sugar, and pasta is, carbs, which then turns into sugar. So what if I added more sugar into the water? How would the pasta taste? And I did it, and it actually tasted pretty good. And then I kept experimenting with the amounts, and eventually I was like, okay, I'm adding too much sugar, and this is carbs anyway, so it's already sugary. I'm gonna become a diabetic. So I was like, enough with the sugar adding. And I've never done it since, but that's one thing I used to do. Now there's many more things you could do with pasta that I might show you. But yeah, so for now, we don't put any salt in, the Chris Allen way. We don't put any salt in. We have the strainer ready. The pasta's there on the side. Here's the fork. Here's the plate. There, the bowl, my pasta bowl. And now we just wait till the water is boiling. So I'm going to end this. I don't know if I'm going to make this into parts. I'm going to try and stitch it all together, but there I am. But yeah, this is it for, I guess, like, the first instance. I'll come back when the water starts boiling.
Shadow the Hedgehog's a bitch-ass motherfucker. He pissed on my fucking wife.
Oh my goodness, we're back. And the water's boiling. So, now, once the water's boiling, it could boil a little stronger than this, but this is a pretty good starting point. So, yeah, once it's like this, you can put it in. So here's what we're going to do. Now, it's kind of tough doing this with one hand, but I'll try my best. There you can see my meaty fucking sausage hand. You just dump it all in. There you go. Right like that. Now, that is not enough. Maybe for a regular person, that might be like a decent amount, but it's not enough. Now, this is important. Once you put it in, you have to mix it. You must mix it so it doesn't stick. And actually, once you put it in, this is also another important part. You have to lower the heat. So we're going to lower the heat to, like, it doesn't really matter how low. I mean, not, super low, but right there. So it was like this before. We're going to lower it to a nice comfortable setting, like there. The water's still hot. It will remain hot. But now the pasta is less likely to stick to the ground, and you have to mix it for, like, the first, I would say, minute. Now we're also going to open this, and we're going to mix them together. There we go. Come on, you bitch. Some rotelli. I really thought this was like corkscrew pasta, but I never knew the actual name. So yeah, this is it. So for here, if it would fucking cooperate with me, we're just gonna take it. We're just gonna shove it all into. Now you don't want to put too much because the pasta's gonna expand as you cook it. I'm trying to be so careful doing this with my hand. The water is splashing on me and it's hitting my belly and it's hurting me. Fuck. Okay. Oh god. I would say that's like a decent amount. That's like half the box. So we have half the box of this and then a fourth of the box of that. So like 3/4 of a box of pasta basically. So remember, once you add some in, you must mix it. I could already feel it starting to stick. And I would mix it a lot more if I wasn't, pouring the other one-handed, but... Oh, fuck. Hold on. Nothing goes to waste. There we go. So yeah, you have to mix this, put it on low to medium heat. Do not leave it on high once you put it in. Once it boils for a little while, then you may put it on high. But before that, you leave it low so it doesn't stick. So I'm going to throw this out, and by throw this out, I mean I'm going to put this on my table to be thrown out later. And then we're going to grab this, we're going to close it. Thankfully my house isn't infested with any sort of bugs, or ants. We haven't seen ants in years. So closing it this much, at least for me, usually is enough, and there's no space on the bottom because of all the fucking shitty elbows. So we're just going to put it back up here. And I have a little stepping, well, this is for my grandma, but we have a little stepping stool that we use to reach things like there and there. Although I don't need it, I could reach it normally. If I do step on it, it's way easier. So I usually step on it. But yeah, now we're gonna just let this boil. You mix it occasionally. Because I mixed it in the beginning, you don't have to keep mixing it. But I mean, I would say like every, maybe like 3 to 5 minutes, just give it a little mix like that. Just make sure it's not sticking at the bottom. Just move around the bottom like this, and then it's fine. Now you may notice, or you may have noticed, I didn't add any salt to the beginning. And I'm still not adding salt yet. The salt, which is right there, will come at the end. And like I said, it's because the salt, when it's dissolved in the water, you don't really taste it. But once you add it at the end, you taste it, and you could use a lot less salt at the end. Although I won't, you technically could, because you have to add more salt in the water to get the salty taste than you would on just the straight pasta. So that's that. But anyway, I'm gonna let this boil. I'm gonna let it get soft. I mean, usually this takes around like, I like my pasta, I can eat pasta anyway. I can even eat it raw if I really need to. But usually I like it really soft. I don't really like it like firm. I like it tender, just like my relationships. And usually that means you leave the pasta in here for about 10 to 15 minutes. The longer you leave it in, nothing bad happens to it. I mean, obviously you shouldn't leave it in for like half an hour, but leaving it in for about 15 minutes is like the perfect amount. It will be super soft, it'll be great. So I'm not gonna bore us by sitting here and watching pasta boil for 15 minutes. I'm gonna start putting these into the video editor because YouTube does not let me combine them. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. Occasionally get up every like 4 to 5 minutes, mix it, and then keep it on low heat. And I'll come back when it's like basically ready. So that's it for here. Okay, we're back for possibly the third and final time. I'm sort of still figuring out how to get this video, or these 3 videos, to my computer to get them on YouTube. But that's for me to figure out. So as I said before, obviously the pasta will expand. The last we saw it, it was all the way down there. Now, some of it's bustling over the top. This is why I like to add a lot of water. So that way it could still get covered. All of it could get cooked. It could get very soft. Now, it's pretty much ready. And I'd like to amend what I said before. I said before, like, 10 to 15 minutes. If you like it soft like I do, you probably want to leave it for a good 20. Now, one thing I do is I said keep the flame low. We're going to actually put it high now, because once the pasta is soft, as long as there's this much water, even if the flame is high, as long as you're right here and you're not like not mixing it for like 10 straight minutes or something, it won't really stick. The only problem with putting high flame like that is sometimes the water will start like foaming and it'll spill out and ruin your fucking, your stove. But that's one thing you have to be careful for with high flame. But pretty much the pasta is basically done. I'm just gonna let it sit here with the high flame for like a couple more seconds, give or take. And in the meantime, while that happens, and hopefully it doesn't foam while my back is turned, we have the condiments. We have the cheese right here, some Pecorino Romano. You can use any cheese you like. It's mostly personal preference. We got some sauce. Now, me personally, I don't mind the sauces like in the jars from the market, like the regular sauces like Prego. But the problem I have with Prego is, oh my god, this shit's about to overflow too. Let me close this. Alright, so that's basically done. But the shit I have with Prego that's a problem is they put a lot of extra shit. It's not just sauce, it's like sauce and garlic and other shit and onion, and it's like, I hate when things are in there besides sauce, and this thing is basically just all sauce with maybe a little bit of spices mixed in, but they're so small you don't even like taste, well, you taste them, but you don't even like feel them. You literally feel just straight sauce. I like straight sauces. The other sauces are not bad though, but that's straight sauce. There's different ones you could get to, but that's a thing. If people want me to explain more, I'll explain more. So now, this is gonna be tough. I'm gonna have to do this with one hand, but once the pasta's done, you grab it, you drag this over here, you move this so it doesn't get in the way, then you drain it. I mean, again, this is all pretty simple, but hey, sometimes people don't even know the simple things, so. And this is how I specifically make it. Now, because I make so much, I actually can't drain it all in one, go. which is good. If you could drain it all in one go, that means you didn't make enough, in my book. So I'm gonna put the fork in my mouth, because I don't want it to get all wet on the handle once I put this in. And I'm gonna, oh fuck, I need to, oh fuck, I'm just gonna do it with 2 hands, fuck it. Okay, here we go. You wanna let the pasta drain very well. I like to shake it a little bit, so all the water goes out. Then we just put it in the fucking pot, or in the bowl, there we go. So it's good to let it have a little wetness after. It shouldn't be like totally dry. It's actually pretty good when it's wet because it's gonna dry out the more you leave it. Like this water will evaporate and it'll become pretty dry. So leaving it with some water, like not leaving it in the drainer for or the strainer for too long isn't bad. You could like do it pretty quick. Ooh, let me taste test this real quick. It's hot. But anyway, I'm gonna grab the rest of this, pour the rest out, and you can see some of it is stuck there, which is not a problem. It's not really stuck, it's just because there's no water. You can see like there's gonna be almost no pasta left behind, which is a sign you've done it well. If it doesn't stick to the pot, you've made it well and you added enough water. If it sticks to the pot, that means you either used too high of a flame or the water was not enough. So because there's no water now, they like to get stuck a little bit. Like these two are still left, but you know, we'll just grab those. Oh my fucking god, it's hot. And we'll grab that last one. So now, what I like to do, and as you can see, there's no pasta left over. The pot is basically clean, aside from like 1 or 2 little like crumbs. But anyway, now what we're gonna do, before we put this in, this is what I like to do. First, we get the salt. We get the salt, we put some salt on the middle layer. Then we grab this, which you can't see because I need both hands. We put the rest of it, and I don't want to show my face here, so. You put that down, I'll wash those later, that's fine. And then you do this. So there's a little bit more now. Now I'm gonna put some more salt on the top layer. So now when you mix it, the middle layer and the top layer are more evenly spread out with salt, and the salt can go everywhere more easily. So that's what I do with the salt. The salt is done. We are now going to get some butter. Now, one thing my grandma does, which I sometimes do, but not often, is you can actually, once you drain the pasta, instead of washing the pot, which I could still do it right now, technically, but I'm not going to, is you could cut the butter, and what I usually do is I cut the butter, and I put it just straight in the bowl right now. But what you could do is you could cut the butter, melt it in the pot, you know, leave the pot here. So basically just grab the pot, put it back, turn the flame on very low, and that's important. And then melt the butter a little bit. And then melted hot butter on top of this tastes, you know, it tastes pretty good. And what else my grandma does is sometimes she gets oil, puts it in there in the pot, puts butter as well, cooks the butter and the oil together over heat for like 2 or 3 minutes. Basically, once the butter is melted, like a good 10 to 20 seconds after the butter completely melts and is liquid, you could just turn it off and just pour it on the pasta. But I'm just gonna use butter because I like butter more. Oil's alright. Oil is, in my opinion, a more healthier option, but butter tastes better. So, not as healthy, but tastes better. So we're just gonna attempt to do this with one fucking hand right now. Okay, there we go. We're gonna grab a knife like that. Be careful, this is for adults only. Then we're gonna cut a generous amount of butter. This is way easier with 2 hands. Then we're just gonna put it right on there. I'm gonna put that right there. And then we're gonna fork this shit. And then we're just gonna spread it around town. The heat from the pasta will have it melt, like, you know, over time, but we're just gonna spread it around town. And this spreads the salt out too. So as this melts further, I'm just gonna, you know, like, mix the pasta around. Once it's all liquid, you basically mix it all around. This is the only problem I have with making pasta, is it ends out to this much and it's really hard to mix stuff in sometimes. So I've been making a little less recently, but it's delicious. This ended out delicious. Now, we put this away. What I usually like to do is I take the cheese, I take the sauce, I take the pasta, I bring it into my room. There's already salt on here and the butter's melting, so I'll mix it up. I'll eat some of it as it is plain, because salt and butter pasta, you could just honestly eat pasta like that and it's fine. Like, it's really tasty. But you get sick of it real quickly. So then I add a little bit of cheese like midway through, or maybe a quarter of the way through. And then once I add some cheese, I'll add the sauce and then even more cheese, and there you have it. That's the pasta. So this is probably going to go at least over 20 minutes at this point. But I hope you enjoyed. I tried to make it as thorough as I can. I mean, you know, making pasta is pretty easy. But this is how I do it. Now again, there's many more variations. One variation, like I said, is with the butter and the oil melted in the pot and then drizzled over the pasta. But that's the little extra. I just like the butter, and if I'm just putting butter, I could just melt it in the pasta. But yeah, there's many other variations, many other sauces. I mean, hell, I even told you guys the sugar variation I used to do. That's like a stain on my history. But anyway, yeah, so that's it. You know, you could really customize pasta as much as you like. It's my favorite food. I could eat it every day if I wanted to. But I'm trying to be healthy, so I'm not trying to eat it that much. But anyway, yeah, hope you enjoyed. Hope you found this helpful. Please like, follow, subscribe, and suck my dick. Thank you.